Good morning, y'all. It's Tamiddy. I decided I'd make a video today about the worst sexual experiences I've ever had because I feel like everyone's had a moment where they've done stupid shit during sex. And it's like, is it something to be ashamed about? It depends on what you did. Like, I like to think that any person who's had a big dick has all had that moment where they underestimate how much of a pounding the girl they are with can take, and then they've accidentally bruised her cervix and then put her out of service. I didn't mean to make that rhyme. But sometimes shit like that happens. Sometimes you could just try to be like, ooh, babe, slap me, it'll be so sexy, and then you accidentally mollywop the shit out of your partner. Lucky for me, I always liked that shit. But I just thought, I'm in a casual mood, let's go. So I've already talked about this guy before, and I'll say his full legal name, because I don't give a shit about him. He's a rapist, and he can burn in hell. But anyway, shout out to Scotty Petrushka, rich-ass white boy in Millbrae, but moving on. Oh, and if you're in the Seattle area, stay the fuck away from him. He's a college bus driver. Be safe. In a nutshell, back when, we first met, before he revealed that he wasn't just, some naive 18-year-old who just watched too much porn and, was bad at, communicating. He was just, full-on ignoring consent. I remember it was awful trying to have sex with him. I'd be like, hey, I'm gonna need more foreplay. I'm gonna need, you can't just shove it in raw. Hey, you can't go that fast, all this shit. And it felt like, anyone else usually is just like, oh, okay, sure. And we can easily have sex in 10 or 20 seconds or less. Or just, they actually bothered to take care. He never did. So then it seemed like after multiple, almost an hour or so of just, awkwardly trying to tell this, fucking man-child what to do in bed, and him just ignoring all of it before actually realizing, oh, maybe I should try at least one thing she's asking me to do that will not cause her pain and will cause me to put it in correctly. He finally got it in. He started banging me. Sex started happening and all that. And as we were banging, and I was thinking, finally, it feels decent. This idiot, I forgot to mention, this was back when I had my little, fucked up afro and I was wearing a beanie that day. This nigga yanks the beanie off my head and shoves it down my throat as hard as he fucking could. And as you can imagine, that didn't go well. He probably thought, he thought I was just gonna be like, ooh, yes, I'm choking, I'm gagging, I'm into this. No, I did not remotely tell him at all that I was into gagging or choking. Especially not and then as you can expect, he got mad at me, cause I just instantly spit that shit up and started hacking and gagging what the fuck, and choking on my funky ass beanie, and this bitch nigga was just on top of me, just like, why are you mad at me? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't fucking... Well, what was he expecting, really? I don't even need to comment on his stupidity. It's just sometimes you are with someone, you're like, you're really that fucking dumb. I don't think you should reproduce. What zero pussy and too much porn does to a motherfucker. And then moving on, I'll talk about, this one is I'm not even gonna write it off as a freshman year, young male experience. Because I feel like there's let me just get into it. Me and my very first boyfriend, that abusive son of a bitch, Franco, I remember, he used to love giving me oral sex all the time. I didn't really give it back to him, mainly because, well, for a lot of reasons. I didn't want rumors getting spread around school, and I just didn't want to risk it, but I did let him know that he doesn't have to, do it to me if he's gonna feel hurt about me not reciprocating. And he's like, no, it's fine, I love to do it. So, he was down there, doing his thing, and I was just moaning with my eyes closed, okay, not too bad, but he wasn't putting in as much work as usual. And so I was just vibing, he's not really feeling good, is he? I feel like I'm getting wetter, but I'm not aroused. Is he even moving his tongue down there? Why does it feel sticky? And I look up, and this nigga was just straight up going... He was hawking loogies from his nose, spitting it into my pussy, and then playing with said loogie, spit, vaginal liquid combination, and just flicking around. So in a nutshell, this nigga decided, oh yes, my girlfriend's vagina is the perfect place to just start don't play with your food. Don't play with your food. And why would you bring mucus into that? As you can expect it, I just was like, what the fuck? And I almost slapped the shit out of him. I wanted to so bad, and I still to this day do. It's so funny. This nigga did so much shit like that. So much weird shit. Like, you know, he could be the type of person to hear me say the words, "Oh, hey, baby. Listen, I'm glad you like my new silk press flat iron, but it took like 6 hours to do, and it's super sensitive, so it can't touch any water at all, and like, so just, you can't run your fingers through it with wet hands." And then this nigga, out of nowhere, just would decide that when my head was turned, he would put my hair into his mouth and start chewing it like a little fucking goat. I almost slapped the shit out of him that time too. In a nutshell, he was a fucking idiot. And then I remember when he broke up, he spread rumors that I sucked his dick anyway. No, I didn't. Oh wait, actually I'll share one of my stories. But in a nutshell, I never actually sucked his dick. The only time I ever once tried to give him oral sex, I remember I was thinking, it smells kind of weird. And I just did the little, like, damn, it's a shame I finished my corn dog, but let me use this instead. Let's say this was his penis. I remember being like, I don't know. Do you like that? And he was like, and do more and put your whole mouth on it. And I was like, and I just like immediately started crying, and then I just like raced to his kitchen sink and just started putting soap, like dish soap, in my mouth, washing it out with water and crying and just repeating that I was gonna go to hell for that. I'm not even a religious person, but I still have religious guilt. It's a very long story. I don't know how to fucking explain that, but in a nutshell, it was so funny. I guess afterwards he spread rumors around school saying, "Oh yeah, when we were dating, Tamia sucked my dick." No, I didn't. I licked it. Very, like, I poked at it like a little frog aiming for a fly, just like, and then otherwise recoiled in disgust, and then washed my mouth out with soap immediately. That's not exactly giving you the sloppy toppy, dude, but okay. And he also spread rumors that, you know, just broke up with him for no reason, broke his heart, and was the toxic one. No, you were the one who always found reasons to provoke me. Like, and I'm not, like, I'll just say, like, yeah, he sexually assaulted me early in our relationship. Not amazing. He always guilted me into sex. Sorry, this video is supposed to be lighthearted. Let's just say, Andy Franco, burn in hell. You know exactly why I broke up with you, and it's because of dumb shit like hawking loogies into my fucking vagina, because you were bored and decided to be petty instead of just saying the words, "Oh, I don't feel like eating pussy today." Then, like, communicate. Don't fucking put snot rockets in my coochie. Fucking idiot. I was actually going through my list of cringe sexual experiences, and I hate that I actually was, like, reading the list, and I realized the next thing is actually about him, too. He really didn't like to, like, respect my consent. I remember, like, you know, freshman year of high school, that's when my boobs went from, like, B cup to D cup, like, hella big. Like, my sister was so fucking mad, but that's a different story. So my boobies grew in. And so I went from B cups to big voluptuous D cups. And what happened was, like, when we first met, they were like B cups, but they were still slowly growing. And he was just like, "Oh my God, did your boobs get bigger?" And he was the happiest kid in the world. Imagine the girl that you're dating, that you already liked when her boobs were, like, you know, mid-sized, is becoming this fucking anime character, you know? And he would feel my boobs. Except, he's an idiot for so many reasons. He is just like Scotty in the way where they take, like, being a daddy dom as, like, ooh, I can just do whatever I want to the girl, even when she says it's uncomfortable or isn't good for her, and she's just supposed to like it anyways. Porn has ruined a generation, like, just tons of fucking men. They were already not great to begin with. Porn just enhanced it. Either way, as you can imagine, if you're a girl with nice budding breasts, and you tell your first-time boyfriend, "Hey, baby, listen, you can touch them, but they are extremely sensitive, so I don't want you to, like, grab them. I just want you to, like, touch them. You can fondle them, shake them, wiggle, but nothing too much. You give them a massage, but nothing too much." And this nigga was like, yeah, I bet, baby. Of course, I would never do anything to hurt you. And then the second he gets my boobs into his fucking bear claws, this is exactly what he does. He touches them. He's like, "Oh, wow. Oh." And then goes, "Oh, man, I fucking love your titties." And then he just, like, I don't know what he was expected. This man was almost 3 times my size. His hands are actually the size of my head. So you can imagine what that did to my fucking body. Instantly doing like that. And then, of course, I screamed out in pain, howling like shit. And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Nigga, what the fuck were you expecting? What were you expecting? I'm really curious. He knows exactly why I left his ass. He just wants to pretend to be the victim. And also, if you're wondering, the only times he actually ever did get slapped was the one time he said the N-word. And once on accident, I was trying to pat his face, the bus velocity jolted, and then I accidentally whacked him. I apologized like hell in the moment and when I got home. I made it up to him. But no. I did not hit him otherwise. I really fucking wanted to, though. And I guess this one, I don't know if I want to share it or not. Let me think. I guess this one I'll share just because I have the time. I remember my second ever boyfriend who was also an abusive piece of shit. And if you're wondering, to me, why do you keep dating abusive pieces of shit? It's not like I'm looking for them. Obviously, they've facade themselves as really nice, shy, unassuming guys, and that's exactly what they want. To seem as unassuming as possible so that they can sink their claws in you and do whatever the fuck they want and manipulate you. Moving on. Also, sometimes I am kind of, This one guy, his name is Zachary Bond. Fuck you, Zachary Bond. I'm not afraid of you either, you fucking pervert. He committed revenge porn against me. So if there's ever anything from when I was like 14 or 15 going around, that's just simply a guy who says, oh, that's not child porn, leaking it to try and get revenge on me. But whatever. But anyway, once before, I think it was before or after all that, it's a long story, our relationship is complicated. He would always be the type in general to be like, ooh, baby, I want to eat your pussy so bad. I want to eat your ass so bad. How's that pussy taste? Does it taste like apple pie? And I'd be honest. I'd be like, no, it does not. And he didn't, he was a virgin. And, I had sexual experience, but I was still a virgin myself. So he'd be like, how's it taste? And it's like, it depends on the pussy. Some people's pussies taste different. Some people's taste like May. I don't know. I don't taste it myself. Some people say it tastes like a lemon. I don't know. Just don't ask me don't ask me. But, this nigga couldn't even eat anything else other than, a cheese quesadilla. So him trying to be like, oh, I'll eat your fucking ass, baby. I'll eat the shit out of your ass. He would say shit like that. Oh, it's so funny coming from a picky eater who can't even take more than a fucking cheese quesadilla every single day. And I think the funniest shit was actually once when I went to his house. And just imagine, being... Let's say someone is trying to have sex with you. You'd expect them to be right up next to you trying to, entice you, right? Not this fucking guy. He sat all the way on the other side of the bed, fully dressed, hunched over, staring at his feet. And what he'd do is just stare at his feet and be like, so are you wet yet? And then I'd be like, no, you have to actually put in effort. He'd just be like, okay. He'd scoot over some, still with a lot of distance. He'd give me one lame-ass kiss on my neck. He'd scoot back over. And, mind you, I'm fully naked and trying to, get things started with this man. And the whole time, he's fully dressed, scooting as far away as possible and just being like, so did that make you wet, baby? No, the fuck it didn't, idiot. So that's something else that he did. And then he'd I don't know. I still think he was, I don't want to make any accusations. I'll just say he did a lot for his homies that he would never do for me. And I think that if he was just trying to get with me to seem cool to his homies, I think he's got a lot to unpack just in general. Oh, I spilled mustard on my bed. I'm not saying he's gay. I'm just saying if you don't, this is important. If you don't want to have sex, you don't have to. But if you do want to have sex, you got to do the bare minimum of foreplay, communication, and actually being willing to get naked, sit next to the person, touch the other person, and make eye contact. But, and that isn't even a freshman year experience. That was when he was 18 or so. Awkward. But anyway, I'd say that's the only... I don't like that guy, but for a lot of reasons. Anyway, yeah. Moral of the story, don't be a fucking asshole. If someone says, hey, you should touch me to get me aroused, do not get mad at them for not getting aroused when you hardly touch them. And when someone says, hey, you're touching me painfully, don't get mad at them for not being aroused when you touch them painfully. So yeah, common sense, have it. And also stop watching porn. Or watch better porn, Anyway, that's all. Talk to you later.